Well, after their wonderful Sunday dinner of eggplant casserole, before Violet even, oh, and by the way, those books were not Elaine's. I said that wrong when I was telling the story. Those craft books, they were Violet's. Elaine didn't yet. She just used her mother's collection. Anyway, Violet, before she cleaned the dishes up, and they went in and sat down, and she was so proud. She wanted to show them both that Yeoman was on the front page of the Daily Lark, the Sunday edition of the Daily Lark, or of the Morning Lark. She was proud of her boy, although he was 40 years old, or almost. Anyway, he was there because of the interview. The Morning Lark. There's two newspapers. I'll tell you about the other one later. The Morning Lark had featured the opening of the Ethno. There was a big picture there, and not quite as big a picture of Yeoman, because the interviewer had explored this and figured out that it was Yeoman as a high school kid and his buddies that had tried to make this happen. And here, almost 20 years later, it finally had happened. And now, Yeoman, for his part, he was gracious, and Violet was really relieved, because he could have gone on. He could have gone on about Tatus, for example. Tatus, even back then, he tried to stop that. It was just not the way things were done, and he was one of the reasons that it couldn't be done until recent times. And even now, he'd been so against it, because it was just not the way things done. Tatus was real big on the status quo, and he didn't like things changed. But I think I've told you that before. But anyway, there was none of that. Yeoman named his buddies, talked about how hard they'd worked on trying to get a museum of ethnology in Richland. That was pretty special. So she was proud. This cold, it'll go away in a day or so. Or not enough of that. Well, they worked on Violet worked on Lance's knee. He'd kind of overdone it. That faith healing had, in a way, taken its toll. It was amazing while it lasted, but now, so once again, really for the last time, she slid his pant leg up and put her hands on that knee, and didn't do much at all to it. Just that magic in her hands. And I'm sorry about this. And Elaine, she did the same, because she was trying to learn to do that. And it helped. It helped a lot. Lance sat there with his knee on a pillow, for a while. But not that long, because Elaine had another idea. It was Sunday, and she wanted to know if they could maybe go to the zoo. Richland had a zoo that the whole population was really proud of, and why she thought Sunday was the best day to go to a zoo was because then you could see the people. You could see the animals any day the zoo was open, but on a Sunday afternoon, it was just the best time of the whole week to see people, because they would be there. You would see families of broken families, together families, reunited families, partial families, a father, so often, sadly, a couple had divorced, and they had time, they were each allowed time, visitation, I think it's called, with their children. And what does a father do with his his daughter on a Sunday afternoon? Go to a zoo. Why not? And so that's one of the things. Well, and I think I might have told you this before too, that back when Elaine's mother and father were both, when her mother was alive, the three of them would go to a zoo. That was at the Bronx Zoo. So could they do that? And Lance said, sure. He thought his knee was, he wanted to keep working on it. And how about Violet? And Violet said, no, it sounds like fun, but my friend Tira is coming this afternoon, and we're working on something. She didn't go on anything more about that. So, and Elaine said, well, can we use your car? It's a little far to walk. And Violet said, well, sure. You just go ahead and do that. So they had a plan, and off Elaine and Lance went for a Sunday afternoon at the zoo.